A new PS Plus update for May, PS5 breaks records in March in the US, the PlayStation Showcase appears to be happening really soon, Sony acquires a new studio, all that and more in today's PlayStation news. Let's get to them. PlayStation Plus is losing 32 games in May, not even counting the PS Plus collection for PS5, and now you can add 4 more games to that, and all from WB in fact. Injustice 2, LEGO Harry Potter Collection, Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City will all be leaving on May 15 when the game catalog updates next month. The good news is that we know one of the games coming to the catalog in May, as Humanity is launching day 1 on the service this May 16. And if you're a trophy hunter, PSP Classic Loco Roco Midnight Carnival has been patched to shiny collectibles, 17 of them including a Platinum. Horizon Burning Shores is already out and there were not that many reviews at launch, but it seems the DLC is an enjoyable new chapter in Aloy's story and one that showcases what Guerrilla is able to do focused only on PS5. As of this recording, the expansion has an 81 in OpenCritic with 24 reviews. Are you going back to the Forbidden West or did you finish it already? Share with us in the comments. Horizon is a game with large bodies of water where you encounter ferocious enemies, and in case you are afraid of both, Guerrilla has you covered, at least with one of them. As part of a new in-game assist option, you can enable Thalassophobia mode, which improves underwater ambient visibility and allows Aloy to breathe indefinitely regardless of a story progression. PS5 sales streak continues now with the US sales March report by Matt Piscatella from Circana. The console was the main driver for a 10% hardware spending growth, leading in both units and dollar sales the last month and year to date, but it wasn't enough to hold a decline by the gaming market due to people buying fewer premium games and content. Hardware totaled $566 million. One of the reasons for that is kind of the same we saw in the UK report covered in the previous video, as there were fewer big game releases in the first quarter this year compared to 2022, despite big new games selling well. Another reason is that subscription-based purchases are slowing, and that includes the likes of PS Plus, but I think it's good they have 3 tiers so people can switch to a lower tier at any time they want. PS5 sales managed to break a record of individual PlayStation consoles sold in March, previously held by the PSP, and back then they did report full sales numbers with the PSP selling 620,000 units in March 2005, so the PS5 sold at least that last month. And when compared to the PS4, the current gen sibling had been trailing behind in unit sales, but not anymore, as PS5 has now surpassed PS4 sales when aligned at a 29-month timeframe. Accessories grew by 1% compared to March 2022 to a total of $239 million, driven by the DualSense Edge, the best selling in dollar sales. As for games, Resident Evil 4 took the top spot from Hogwarts Legacy in the US as well, and it sold well enough to instantly enter the best selling games of 2023 at number 3. Hogwarts Legacy, however, is still number 1 on that chart. Other new games from March that managed to get in the top 10 were MLB The Show 23 and WWE 2K23 at 3rd and 7th respectively. But sadly, Wolong Fallen Dynasty didn't make it into the top 20. First party games also included The Last of Us Part 1 at number 5, still driven by the HBO series, and God of War Ragnarok at number 15. Overall, the US gaming market in March was $4.6 billion, a 5% decline from the same period last year, and year to date is $13.6 billion, behind by 1% when comparing last year's Q1 to this one. Again, great news for Sony and PS5, and we'll have to see if they can keep the momentum going throughout the year as we get to Final Fantasy XVI and that rumored Spider-Man 2 September release. While Sony and gamers are now happy with the PS5 stock, there's a group that's having a tough time. We're talking about scalpers that took advantage of the low stock to sell the console at a huge markup to reap additional profit, which led to the frustration of a lot of fans. Shared on Reddit was a picture of a reseller trying to move discounted units, as they are now forced to do it or risk ending up losing money. At least the consumer wins in the end. Do you know where consumers are losing? Steam PC prices if they are interested in a PlayStation game, that is. Sony has quietly made a significant increase in Steam prices for games like Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Returnal, God of War, and Spider-Man Remastered, but only in countries like Argentina, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Japan, and South Korea, at least as of recording. The prices vary by region, with Argentinian prices almost doubled. For example, God of War is 4,199 to 8,499 pesos, Canada is seeing a $10 increase, and Japan got around 29 to 32% increase. So far, the Japanese company has not commented on the reason for these price hikes. Perhaps that extra money is going to new studio acquisitions, since Sony just announced they have acquired Firewalk Studios from publisher Probably Monsters. Sony announced back in 2021 they had already partnered with both on the studio's current multiplayer project, which has not been revealed. Worldwide Studios Herman Hall said in the PlayStation blog they are very impressed by the team's ambitions to build a modern multiplayer game that connects players in new and innovative ways. The studio is formed by former developers from Destiny, Bioshock, Mass Effect, and Call of Duty franchises. And it seems a trend that Sony partners with these newly established studios and ends up buying them like with Jade Raymond's Haven. Hopefully we'll get to know what they are working on soon. Spider-Man voice actor Yuri Lowenthal has said that he's done with Spider-Man 2 work. That was as part of a Reddit AMA for a new Skybound game called Homestead Arcana, where fans ended up asking about the game anyway, even if Skybound has nothing to do with that. Lowenthal said that his work was done but didn't go into full details, while back in January he said he still had some work to do. This comes as great news regarding the game's release this fall, rumored to be in September. Insomniac is also asking for just a little bit of patience as they are in the kitchen. But they may be ready to show us what they are cooking really soon, as insider Jeff Grubb commented more on that PlayStation showcase he's been hinting at for a while now. In the latest episode of his Game Mess Mornings podcast, he mentioned that he could probably safely say the showcase was going to be in May at this point, maybe very early June. I keep comparing it to last year when we didn't have a showcase but a state of play a week before the Summer Game Fest kickoff event, so my bet is if that repeats again with the SGF kickoff being June 8, the PlayStation showcase should be on June 1st. Speaking of showcases, Capcom held a Street Fighter 6 showcase this week, and besides giving a full look at the World Tour and Battle Hub modes, they also announced a new demo is available now on PlayStation Store for PS4 and PS5. The demo allows you to create your character, which will carry over into the full game, and try World Tour as well as versus and training modes in the fighting grounds. They also detailed the first wave of DLC with Year 1 including Rashid in the summer this year, Aki in the fall, Ed during winter, and Akuma in the spring of 2024. That was not the only showcase this week, as Ubisoft shared the future of The Division. The Division 2 got a full roadmap for Year 5 of content including new seasons, behind-the-scenes storylines, April events, a new roguelite mode, and new story DLC coming with Season 4. The Division Heartland is their free-to-play PvE/VP offering for the series, and will be in closed beta later this year, and you can register to be a part of it, plus get 5 invites for your friends. More news about this game will be released in the summer. If you are planning to reunite with Cal Kestis and friends in a galaxy far far away next week, make sure you have plenty of space in your PS5. PlayStation Game Size has revealed the final download size for Star Wars Jedi Survivor to be a whopping 147GB, which is almost a third of the usable SSD in a PS5. Preload starts on April 26. It was kind of expected since the PS5 version comes at 155GB, but with the Kraken compression there was hope for it to go down on PS5, and it didn't happen. There's one last chance to visit Sanctuary before Diablo 4 launches this June 6, as Blizzard has announced the beta is returning for a server slam session this May 12th to the 14th. This beta features the same content as the previous one, with the prologue and Act 1 playable in couch and online co-op, with crossplay and cross-progression on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series and PC. And those are the PlayStation stories for today. What are your thoughts on them? Share them in the comments below, let me know your feedback by liking or disliking this video, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, and consider subscribing for more on PlayStation. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!